The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madeir, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Forever Fab podcast with my guest, Michelle Richburg. Michelle. So, a few more questions about, like financial wellness and savviness. What would you say is more important and may potentially provide more leverage? Either saving part of your salary or sort of taking a chunk off the top, or having a side hustle to fund your savings plan.
Ooh.
Now, this, I ask you this because I know you have a history of having just busted your bum, right? You worked 3 jobs while you were doing other things. So if someone is trying to think, okay, shoot, I have this paycheck, but it really isn't enough, but I'm going to be disciplined. I'm not going to have Starbucks every week, and I'm just going to shave off the top of that. Or should they just be like, look, that's my paycheck. It's already dedicated. It's already pretty tight. Let me try to find a side hustle or something else, or a second job or a third job. What do you think?
So I lived that, right?
Yes.
And the world of Michelle Richburg, which I know is not the answer you want to hear, I'm going to say do both.
Ooh.
Because I lived that. Mm-hmm. So a little short background is that I'm a single mom. And my son, who was 5 months from being 28.
Yes.
Woo.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah. I can't even, that's why I just said I can't even believe it was a struggle raising him, right? So it took a community, as they say. And when I say that, I mean, I picking him up after school, yes, football practice. He was a child performer, so he had auditions. Right? So all of those things also cost money.
Yes.
Along with the the physical part,
yeah,
of getting to and fro. And I am working in a bank.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he went to private school. Right? And I say these things because people, again, friends, family, those afar, whatever, foes, they're like, oh, you live a fabulous life. Oh, and I'm like, if you only knew, and a lot of people do, how hard I worked back then.
Yeah.
And now, of course, but to do what I needed to do for my son.
Yeah.
Right. So Adrian was my motivation. Mm-hmm. I wanted Adrian to have the best education possible. He was a young Black boy that I was trying to raise into the best Black man possible. So I needed his environment to be everything that I thought was going to make up for that, because his father was not in the house.
Right.
Right. And so we have church, we have, like I said, Harlem School of the Arts, we have athletics, we have, families, that we have a whole bunch of things. Yes. So what I thought as his mom was necessary for him to be who he is today. And I have to say, he's a pretty incredible human.
I'm sure he is.
So with that being said, when I was working in the bank, I had a side hustle.
Okay.
So Richburg started as a side hustle. So that's funny that
Wow.
you asked that question, because I started off, I actually started off by just doing organization for people, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't look like it, but I'm very organized.
I love that.
I know where everything is. I am very OCD, and
You just have a system, right?
I have a system. And again, this is a trait that I've been my whole life. When you
Yeah.
don't recognize things until you're grown, but
Yeah.
I've been that way from my closet to my make, everything.
Yeah.
So it first started out where I would, again, go, open up mail for people.
Yep.
I would go open up their mail, sort it, shred it, leave it there because most times they weren't home. Leave it there for, when the kid, just what you need. These are your bills,
Right.
basically. And this is junk mail. And this is, I don't know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it started. Then it turned into bookkeeping.
Wow.
Because I was approached like, oh, Michelle, I fired my business manager. I fired my account. Can you do my books? And I was like, what? And then, I was a banker. So
that's right. So you have the background.
Debits, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't know accounting or bookkeeping, but I know credits and debits. I know whatever. So I took a QuickBooks class. And then I reached out to, again, a business manager at the time. And she was a client, and I told her, what my opportunity was, and did she mind spending some time teaching me? Wow. And I used to go to the office on the weekends. I don't know. I did it for a few months, and she taught me. So then I learned the bookkeeping skill.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was a bookkeeper, and I don't know. I used to, open up and organize people's mail. And that's how, and it was a side hustle. And that's how my first business management client, which I think you said in the introduction, was Shine.
Yes.
The rapper, Shine. He's now honorable. He's running for Prime Minister of Belize.
What?
Yes. So
look at that. From rapper to politician to prime minister.
So he was my and I just have to right. So he is the Honorable Shine Barrow. He's the leader of opposition House of Representatives of Belize. That is what he is doing right now. So he was my first business management client. For what everybody, I'm sure, everybody knows that, when he got arrested and it was the episode in the club with Puff and Jennifer Lopez in the car. So,
right. He was there.
Yeah.
He was part of that situation, that melee. And lo and behold, Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Hey.
He is the most amazing person ever. The sweetest person. He's just amazing. So, when all of that happened, he was a client, and he said to me, he called me Shelly, and most people call me, well, they call me my name, but a lot of people call me Shell. They call me Shelly. That's what he called. And he said, Shelly, you got to be my business manager. You got to, and what? And I was like, I got to what? Because I was his banker. So I'm a banker. I'm corporate. I'm thinking compliance. I'm thinking conflict of interest. I started sweating just when he told me.
Yeah.
And it was quick phone calls, and he just told me what needed to happen. And the bottom line was, you got to take care of my family, and I don't trust anybody but you.
Wow.
So figure it out.
Yeah. That's right.
So,
and you figured it out.
I figured it out, and he was the first bit, and this is like 23 years ago.
Before Richburg Enterprises.
Before Richburg Enterprises. So again, it's one of my stories, but that was the side hustle. And I did that. Dr. Shirley, I did that until I quit my job to start a full-time firm in 2015. Because when I was Wendy Williams' business manager, I was still working.
Wow. So
So
even
that
Wendy
wasn't
Williams was a side
that
hustle.
long ago. So my long answer is do both. I was a single mother,
Yeah.
right? So I figured it out. Now, obviously, everyone's circumstances are different.
Yeah.
It's isolated to your circumstance. But my advice would be, if you need to do that and you need to earn extra income, especially now with
Yeah.
social media and everything being online, there's so many things that you could do remotely, whether it's, writing, or you're a content creator, or you're a billing specialist, or this or whatever. I would
Yeah.
say that you have to make the sacrifice, take the time, be tired, and do both.
Got it. How do you define wealth?
Wealth is, to me, I define wealth by peace that surpasses all understanding.
Ooh, I'm going to write that down. Peace that surpasses all understanding. You know what? That kind of gives a spiritual sort of vibe to wealth, which a lot of people don't really see it that way, but I really like it. I'm quoting you on that too, Ms. Richburg. And by the way, I've been resisting this for the entire podcast. I mean, how appropriate is your name? Richburg. Like the town of Rich, okay? Like the center of Rich, like the epicenter of all that is rich. Richburg. So you are exactly where you should be. You have a son. You said he's 28, is it?
He's 27. He'll be 28 in December.
He'll be 28 in December, a few months away. So generational wealth. How did you start planning for it as soon as he was born? Or is this something that you feel that even preceded you with your grandmother having been so financially savvy and instilling in you these ideas and these, concepts for you to be successful and be a wealthy woman? How are you creating generational wealth that not only your son will be free, but his children and maybe his grandchildren? How do we even start?
That's a good question. So, and that's what obviously my grandmother intended for me, right?
Yeah.
And my dad. So my grandmother, I like to clarify, my grandparents that raised me were my father's parents.
Okay.
And as many know, my father passed away of COVID in the very beginning.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So he didn't get the memo either, by the way. So that's why he was very intentional with me. He was a young man growing up in the 60s. So you know what that was. Yeah. So
yes, free love, free everything else, and forget the cost. It's free. It's free. Right.
Right. So I know she used to say to me, so when I came on the scene and she said, and she raised me and she had to change. I was, her baby girl, that she was like, somebody gonna get these financial lessons. It's not your father, but
lucky you.
So she started it, and still to answer your question, yes, short. When Adrian's born, and again, I'm dating myself, but this is the time, and I learned these things from being a banker, and her philosophies is that when he was born, I got him a whole host of savings bonds. Do you remember the doubling savings bonds?
No, but
oh my God, Yeah, so I used to have it taken out of my paycheck. I think it was $25 per paycheck. I used to, because you could buy, they were, $50, $100, or $500. So I used to have a $25 automatic deduction from my paycheck to go to, and then every time I got $50, he had a bunch of savings bonds. So I actually gave them to him. Well, I actually have a few left because I'm saving them for a rainy day. But I gave them to him a few years ago, after college and after he graduated college. So my mindset, yes, to build generational wealth for my son has always been there with the tools that I had at the time.
Okay.
Since in this space, another thing that a lot of folks don't do for their children is they should have a life insurance policy for their children.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. You never want to think that nowhere am I putting any of that in the universe.
Yeah.
It's part of the financial
preparation
that you should do. And now that I'm in this space, obviously there are other things that I've learned along the way, that we have our experts and our team around that advise that you can create living will trust. And, there's real estate that's involved. So there's many ways to pass on generational wealth, plan for the estate tax that could be very significant to make sure that the children get what you need, that, you desire them to have when you're not here.
Thank you. Very sage advice. My next question is just going to ask you for one word to describe your feelings or your opinions on each of the following. So I'll say one thing and you just tell me the first word that comes to mind, no filter. So in one word, describe your feelings or your opinions on the following. Stock market.
Patience.
Cash under the mattress.
Old school.
Commercial savings account.
Necessary.
Cryptocurrency.
Is a word?
Make it a word. Yeah. The team will figure out how to spell that.
I would,
50-50. Okay. Last one. MBA degree.
MBA? Master's
MBA. Master's in Business Administration. MBA degree. What's your one word?
I need one word. Because I enrolled and then I withdrew. MBA education is important. That's the one word. Important.
Okay. Now shifting gears a little bit and continuing though to talk about what's important. How do you decompress? What's your wellness routine? I'm sure with your clients throughout the day, you're hearing about windfalls and possibilities and amazing things and positivity. But I'm sure from time to time, as you mentioned, life happens. And sometimes, you hear from your clients, not so great things. So how do you not take in anything? And when you get home, how do you decompress? And what's your wellness routine? It could be as simple as you take a breath or you light a candle or something more elaborate. What's yours?
So I'm very intentional about my wellness routine since during post-COVID, right? My work ethic and my value, all of those remain the same. But I think I know it has to do with losing my dad, with being in my 50s, with being in the sector that I'm in.
Yes.
That I have become, and I can, I say this without regret or without anything. I have become very no nonsense, intentional about my boundaries.
Right? Yes.
So my wellness includes, I'm making this up, but at, 7:00 or 8:00, I'm not having, any conversations about anything with any clients on any day. And that's new because before I was always accessible. I'm not saying I'm not accessible, but I've kind of set into motion these boundaries and they are being respected. And that's my self-care. I also, so it's basically taking time for myself.
Good.
It's prayer and meditation, 1,000,000%. I don't talk on the phone or look at any email before 10 a.m. every day.
Got it.
Because my mornings are for me and God. I also, also and fitness. Like I needed to get in shape. I have some work to do. I have some work to do. So
I do too. I'm right there with you.
So
Post on in COVID.
Right, exactly. So, drinking my water,
Yes.
juicing, walking, again, meditating, and I should say taking vacation should probably be number one. I've traveled every month since March, starting with Renee until June. I'm kind of done now. But, I vacation and disconnecting is very important. Right? Because then I have something on my desk that I keep here that says renew, relax, and reset.
Yep.
So that's my
wellness routine. So would you say that your guilty pleasure is vacation or travel? I mean, meaning when you do spend some serious coin, for fun, for relaxation, for well-being, whatever the case may be, is that guilty pleasure travel, or is it jewelry, cars, fashion?
Travel.
Like if you had one guilty pleasure that you're just like, what would it be on?
Travel.
Okay.
Travel.
And specifically, let's talk beauty a little bit.
Okay.
If you were going to spend an arm and a leg or some serious coin on one beauty product or service, just one, like everything else could fall apart, but this one thing is going to be tight, what would that be?
My hair.
I think
my hair.
Okay, well, we got the hair part. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Kudos to Amoy. Big up to Amoy.
Big up to Amoy. She already has her instructions, God forbid, or when I leave this earth, my hair.
I love it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Talk about skincare a little bit. What is your skincare routine, if you have one?
Yes, I do. Oh, it's funny. We have a joke. Well, it was a joke, I guess, but I have this hashtag that says "skin like silk." So
I like that.
When I turned 50,
yes.
I celebrated my birthday in Palm Springs with friends and family, and we had a spa day. And when I went to the spa, and I got my facial, she couldn't believe. She kept telling me how great my skin was, and so she said, "Oh my God, you have skin like silk." So of course I came out there like, "I have skin like silks. I have skin like silk." So we made it a hashtag, and it's become like a meme in my close circle. But I'm grateful for. I do have a routine. I use Dr. Rose, and I receive facials regularly. And I drink, Nacker said, now I'm drinking a lot of water, more because I wasn't a water drinker. I was a person that would only drink water in the summertime. I know that's sense, but I know it sounds crazy. But I didn't. But now, I drink at least a gallon of water a day, which I don't think is enough, but I had I worked my way up to that.
Yes, it does take time to work up to it. But congratulations on a couple of things, having a beauty routine and then, drinking a gallon of water a day. I always like to say, hydration is the second rule of beauty. So you're on it, Michelle.
I was going to say, well, what would be your recommendations? But yes, so that's my mini, beauty routine.
I like it. It doesn't sound mini at all. And it sounds as if you do lead a fabulous life. So that brings us to our last question. I can't believe this is over for now. When your second book comes out, we'll have you back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I put it out there in the universe.
I was going to say, you're putting it in the universe.
That's twice now. So that's right.
It's going to happen, right, guys?
It will happen. So Ms. Michelle Richburg, this is the Fab 5 question. So what are your top 5 recommendations for living a fabulous life? And I'll let you define fabulous, whether that's financially free, fabulous in general, beautiful, healthy. What are your top 5 recommendations for living a fabulous life? I'll write them down.
The first one is, and it's probably, I don't know if it's an answer, but ever since I saw Oprah and she changed my life,
Yes, ma'am.
literally, I quit my job 6 months later. My number one is live your best life now.
Yep.
So that could mean whatever it means for different individuals, whatever that means for you. But it's get rid of the fear, get rid of you see, I'm on this podcast, right?
I love
Just
it.
live your best life now and do it now and not do it tomorrow.
Perfect.
That's
Number two.
one. Number two is be kind, help people, have fun, smile.
Yes, I like that. Number three.
Number three is don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes. Number four.
Number four is find your freedom.
Yes. We had to put that word in there. Had to. It's necessary.
It's necessary. And I do want to say, and I think I say this in the book, or if not, I've said it somewhere about financial freedom, that money doesn't buy happiness, obviously, but it provides opportunity. And the opportunity will provide you with freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is gratitude. Actually, that should probably be number one, but you get it.
Yes, that's right. Have gratitude.
Yes.
I love it. Have gratitude or express gratitude. I like it. I've written them all down. Oh my gosh, Michelle Richburg, this was fabulous. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your expertise, your light, and everything that you are currently doing and have done and will continue to do to help us to be financially free.
Dr. Shirley, thank you so much. I can't tell you again, I'm grateful for the opportunity and for the conversation. I'm grateful for your patience with my stories.
Love the stories.
So
Part two coming.
Part two coming.
I'm on it, Michelle. I keep bothering you about it. Part two is coming.
Part two coming. Okay. I claim it and I receive it. So I'm very appreciative and I thank you very much. This was wonderful. And I'm so glad that we got to connect. And I hope some of my little tidbits, spill out to the universe to whoever needs to hear them.
Absolutely. And they will be received with gratitude. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's Forever Fab podcast episode with my guest, Michelle Richburg. Until next time, stay beautiful inside and out.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madeir, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.